Hello, this is Dr. Amudapriya, Associate Professor Triply, Rohini College of Engineering and Technology, Palkulam. We are discussing about the course Power System Operation and Control, and in this lecture we will be discussing about the system monitoring, data acquisition and controls. So, while going for the security analysis and control, security monitoring is an online identification of the actual operating condition of a power system. It will be requiring the system-wide instrumentation in order to gather the data as well as the means for the online determination of network topology, which involves an open or closed position of the circuit breakers. Here we go with the state estimation for security analysis. So while considering the data acquisition, it is used to process the from the remote terminal units to check the status values, the actual value with the normal value, to send the alarm conditions to alarm processor to check analog measurements against the limits. While considering the alarm processor, it to send an alarm messages, to transmit messages according to the priority. Then regarding the status processor, it determines the status of each substation, whether it has been properly connected or not. And while considering the reserve monitor, in order to check the generator's megawatt output on all the units against the unit limits. While considering the state estimator, it is used to determine the system state variables, to detect the presence of bad measures values and to identify the location of bad measurements and to initialize the network model for other programs. All these can be contributing to the network practical security monitoring system, and because of this, the security analyzer will automatically detect what is the condition of the system, whether it has been under normal condition or it is in a better position, or whether it is undergoing with any troubles or not, and it will be taking actions accordingly. So security control function in this the network topology processor mode of network is there, state estimator is there, power flow, the active power, reactive power, the voltage and the angle, phase angle value. It will determine the optimal power flow condition in any part of the transmission system or distribution system, whatever it is there. And then while considering the contingency analysis, we can identify the optimal power flow. Security enhancement can be made after accompanying with the corrective control actions, and then maybe preventive actions can also be taken place, and also short circuit analysis can be done. So these are all been undertaken under the security control function. So this security assessment, how is it being done? Because assessment is a process is used for verifying whether it is under secured condition or not. So the security assessment, which will first determine whether the system is currently residing in an acceptable state, and next whether the system would respond in an acceptable manner, and it will reach an acceptable state following any one of the predefined contingency set. So contingency, it is nothing but the unexpected failure of a transmission line of transformer or whatever the components which are being connected in the power system. So these contingencies, where they result in the fault condition, the short circuit condition or open circuit voltages, etc. When such a fault occurs, the protection system will sense the fault and it will remove the component by activating the circuit breakers. Of course, with one less component, the overall system is weaker and undesirable effects may occur. So in such a cases, the static security problems will start. If it is a dynamic security problem, there occurs an uncontrollable voltage decline due to the generator overspeed or undamped oscillatory behavior. So all these has to be properly assessed. Only after assessment, it will be deciding whether any security control has to be executed over it. So the power systems are designed to survive all the probable contingencies, because power system analysis will enable us to know what and all the different types of problems is being occurred and what is the condition we have to take. What is the remedy we have to take in order to survive the system. So survival means the system stabilizes and continues to operate at an acceptable voltage and the frequency levels without the loss of load. So instead of dealing with the impossible task of analyzing the security control, it starts with a specific state and it executes in a real-time network sequence, and also the postulated state if executing a study sequence. And probably the power flow, it will determine the steady state conditions of the power system network for a specified generation and load pattern. It will calculate the voltages, phase angles and the flows across the entire system in order to ensure whether it is within the limits or not. And while considering the contingency analysis, actually there may be different type of contingencies, and there may be potentially harmful and contingencies also. So those has to be violated continuously, and the immediate actions have to be taken if a contingency is supposed to occur, right? So in such a cases, this will not ensure an optimal power flow. So the control action has to be specifically taken immediately. And while considering the security enhancement, it recommends the corrective control actions to be taken to alleviate an existing or potential overload in the system while ensuring minimum operational cost. So this will be an optimal power flow in such a cases. Obviously, preventive actions has to be taken in order to safeguard the system, and the bus load forecasting is an initially it is a most important process which the power system personnel have relied over, which in order to operate the power system in the real-time measurements. And also the transmission loss factors, they will determine the incremental loss sensitivities upon the generating units, and short circuit analysis, they determine the types of faults and what is the magnitude of fault current which has been occurring in a particular place under a specific conditions likewise. So totally this is a real-time network analysis sequence, and each and every part will possess its own responsibilities in order to obtain a safe and secure system operation.